Today, in this video, I'll be going over the various actions of Deadzone, and if anyone notices how this intro is different to the rest of the video, nah, no one will notice. In Deadzone, when the model activates, it has either two short actions or one long action. You can't do the same action twice, so you can't do two shoot actions, or two fight actions, or two move actions, or two sprint actions, and so on and so forth. The only way to get two actions of the same kind is to use command dice. So, if you want to shoot twice, you shoot once normally, and then use command dice to shoot again. But we'll get on to more detail of how that works in a bit. For the examples for this, we will be using the formidable Strike Team Fandango, as I have been using for all my examples so far. Moving is a short action, and we'll be using Nerg the Steel Warrior as the example. To move, you use your first value, which is the move value. The second value is the sprint value, which allows you to sprint, which is a long action. So, the move of the Steel Warrior to do a short action move is 1. So he could go here. He could go here. He could even go here. But what about up here? Why, yes, he could. Now, to go up a building, you will need a wall. And because there is a wall here, he can climb up it to go up here, like so. However, what if he wanted to go up here? There is no wall, so he cannot go up it because there is nothing to go up. There are other things that allow you to negate this somewhat, but Steel Warriors don't have any of those things to do that. So they are stuck requiring things to climb up. Poor little Steel Warrior. You can move through windows, or as it's more thematically seen, jump through windows in order to get to the other side, to take cover from enemy fire, or to get a better firing position on. Nerg has made the very, very stupid decision to lie down, which is not an option in Deadzone unless you're hit by pinning weapons. We'll go on to that in a bit. But say little Nerg over here wants to get to that building, but he's too far away. He's 2 squares. This means he needs to use the sprint action, which is a long action. A sprint move for a Steel Warrior is 2. Which luckily is enough to get him up here. So 1 and then 2. He has got to a very advantageous firing position to see things up above. Should you move or sprint into a cube containing an enemy model, then a fight will go off immediately. So for example, this Steel Warrior wishes to go into close combat with this ghoul, which is a plague model. It will go 1, 2 to sprint into combat. Let's go over a fight action now. Like I said, should a model advance, which is move, or sprint into a cube containing an enemy model, a fight action will happen immediately. If the model is already in close combat, the fight action is a long action. So, Nerg has moved in to the cube with the ghoul. So, you start with 3 dice. Each person starts with 3 dice. The attacker then gets an extra dice for charging in. There are other bonuses, such as an extra dice for being bigger, such as if this ghoul was against the Stein ancestor, or if the ghoul was pinned, then Nerg will get get an extra dice. If the ghoul was damaged or injured or wounded, depending on how you say it, then Nurg would get an extra dice. If Nurg had a friend in close combat, you get an extra dice. There's also other such things, such as smash and the like, which will give you extra dice as well. Before any dice are rolled, there are two things that need to be decided. The defender needs to decide whether they're attacking back or defending themselves. If they attack back, then they use their fight value to see if they or the attacker are the victor and kill the enemy or at least wound them. If they defend, they will try and survive, blocking any incoming hits from the attacker. If a defender is pinned, then they can only survive. They do get up, but they cannot attack back. You also, before any dice are rolled, have to decide if you are using any command dice that have the die symbol on them. These give you extra dice, but you have to decide, both players have to decide before any dice are rolled. However, just for this example, we'll just use the extra one for Nurg for charging in. The ghoul is choosing to fight back because their fight value is 5. They could survive, but the ghoul is feeling very, very lucky. So Nurg will roll his dice to attack, needing 5s. So, what Nurg has got is a 3, 2 3s in fact, a 4 and an 8. Not very good, Nurg. You should be sacked. However, Deadzone is a game that uses exploding dice. Should you roll an 8, or any number of 8s, you get to roll another dice until you stop rolling 8s. So let's see what Nurg gets here. He gets another 3, which is pretty pathetic by Forgefather's standards. So, he has 1 success so far. So we'll remove these others that did not hit. Let's see what the ghoul does. The ghoul has got a 1, a 6 and an 8. So, because he got that 8, he gets to roll another dice. He got another 6. So we'll get rid of that 1, because that was a failure. And then we'll see what dice happens. The ghoul got 3 successes, while the Steel Warrior only got 1. So, the ghoul is the winner. Not something that should normally happen. Nurg, if you don't die, you will be disciplined severely for your lack of ability. However, we'll ignore that for now. So the ghoul being the winner means that we remove 1 dice because the Steel Warrior got 1 success. The Steel Warrior has got 1 point of armour, and the ghoul has got no AP on his close combat weapon, so we remove another dice. What remains is 1. So the Steel Warrior takes 1 damage. He only has 1 health left. For shame, Nurg. For shame. In the next turn, Nurg wishes to move out of combat, which, considering his inadequacy in close combat, is probably the right strategy. However, the ghoul gets a free strike because the Steel Warrior is moving out to get a better firing position. So, the ghoul is the attacker and rolls 3 dice and rolls an extra 1 because Nurg is damaged. So he gets 4. He needs 5s. The ghoul gets a 5, a 6 and 2 8s, so he rolls 2 more. And gets a... Jesus. A 5 and an 8. And gets a 4. The 4 is ignored because 4s are not what they need. The ghoul needs 5s. Let's see what Nurg does. He gets 3 dice because 3 dice are the standard before any penalties or bonuses. Nurg gets 2 4s and a 1 to survive, and his survive is 4, so he has got 2 successes. We then remove 2 of these for the successors. We also then remove 1 for the point of armour that Nurg has. Remains is 3. Nurg only has 1 health left, so for this example, Nurg has been removed as a casualty, taken away, or infected, or just dead. Pathetic Nurg. I'll now go over shooting, which is a short action for most weapons. Not all, but for this example, it's a short action. Gorin here wishes to take vengeance for his fallen brother. Vengeance! But he sees the ghoul is in a building. To do a shoot action, you must first check the range. A Hellstorm autocannon, which Thorgrim has, is range 8. It is long range, but let's just check the range. 1, 2, 3. Thorgrim is in range and takes aim to obliterate the ghoul. You get 3 dice as standard. You get different penalties and bonuses. You get an extra dice for being high up. You get a die. You get 2 extra dice if the target is in the open. This includes the base. So if you cannot see the base, you cannot shoot. You do not get a clear line of sight to the target. You get 2 less dice for shooting into close combat. Yes, you can shoot into close combat, which perhaps I'll go over some strategic possibilities in future for doing such a thing. But for now, we'll just go over this. There are other such things to get extra dice, such as ammunition and the like, but for now, we'll just go over the basic shoot action. So, Thorgrim takes aim, needing 4s. Thorgrim, being a better Forge Father than Norg, gets a 4, a 7 and an 8. So he gets to roll an extra dice because he got an 8. Ye gods, I don't do this but good normally. He got another 8. So he rolls another dice and gets a 1. However, a Hellstorm autocannon has the keyword wait to fire 1, which means he gets to re-roll a dice that failed to hit in a shooting action, which in this case is fortuitous because he got a 1. Yes, you can roll the dice you get from the exploding dice. He then got a 7, so he got 5 successes. The ghoul requires 5s to defend himself. The ghoul gets a 7, a 5 and a 1, which means he got 2 successes. So, we remove 2 successes from the Forge Father because the ghoul got these 2 successes. What remains is these 3 because the ghoul has no armour. The ghoul only has 2 health, so the ghoul in his little hidey hole is dead. To be higher up, you need to be 1 cube exactly. Half a cube does not count. You must be exactly 1 cube or 3 inch if you want to work in that way. You must be that high up to get the extra dice for being high up. To be in the open, like I said, you need to see all the base. Any part of the model that is outside its base area, such as this part of the HMG, of the ghoul, does not count for shooting, and so cannot be shot or be used for line of sight of the ghoul. So the ghoul cannot use it to make shoot actions himself. Unlike 2nd edition. Thorgrim shot another ghoul, however did not kill him or even damage him because he was possibly not being as accurate because he was thinking how stupid and ineffective Nurg was. Even though, as a Forge Father, you have to take vengeance for a fallen comrade, no matter how ineffective or pathetic that comrade is. So, this ghoul is pinned because this Hellstorm autocannon has the keyword suppression, which pins enemies, which you show by laying them on their back or their side. The person who owns the model chooses where in the cube the model gets laid down. So, in the ghoul's activation, it requires to get up, which is stand up as it's called. To do that, you have to do that as your first short action, which is your first thing. So, the ghoul only has one short action remaining. It could shoot at the Forge Father, or it could move into close combat, because a ghoul's move is 2. Ghouls are very fast and not bad in close combat, but they aren't accurate at shooting because the ghoul requires 6s. I'll go over special actions briefly. Special actions are short actions and don't really fit into any other category that I've gone over. And in this case, I'll be using the example Kira and the Devil. So, Kira has Medic, which is a short action. How Medic works is it heals all damage on another friendly model, unless you've got the vehicle, walker, or construct. So, if the Devil had taken damage, or if, say, another model in the same strike force that was bigger had taken a lot more damage but was not dead, all damage would be healed so they could fight again. So there you go. That's how the actions work in Deadzone. Like I said, there's other such complications and things that add different dice and do different things, but you get the basics of how they work. So, I hope you do anyway. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.